Hello, and welcome to How to Make $70,000 a Year as a Food Coach. Just allowing everyone to get settled onto the call and get your positions ready. We're going to spend the next hour and a half together, and I hope that you are going to learn a whole heap of things that are really going to make a difference in your business so that you are going to be able to make a difference in the world. So I just want to make sure that you are comfortable, that you've got a nice glass of water, and that you can get comfortable and really be focused during this time, because what I'm about to share with you essentially is a lot of information. And if I can distill it into kind of one sentence about what I'm going to share with you, and my goal is to do is I'm trying to take everything that I've learned over the last 25 years in business, and particularly around the space of food coaching and dealing with people and teaching people how to develop a healthier relationship with food in their body, and to really shortcut that route for you so that you can be more successful. Essentially, I believe that the world is in serious trouble based on how we're eating, and we need literally tens of thousands of people to be working at helping people to make this transition from what I call the lethal recipe to eating real and natural food. So just before we get started and waiting for a few people to come on board, I want you to check in your webinar jam little control panel to see if you can see the chat room. And if you can, just to say hello and just tell us your name and tell us what brought you here today. And yeah, just let us know that you're online and say hello. I'd love to hear from you. Okay. So we see we've got 94 people registered today, and that's pretty exciting. That's probably the highest number that I've had on a webinar so far that I've personally organized, so that's really exciting. And there are a lot of people here from all over the country, interestingly enough. So we have got B, Haley, Christina, Amber, Jody, Dan, Alicia, Gail, Dana, Stephanie, Elizabeth, Lillian, Nadia, Kay, very mysterious, and Susan. So if you haven't already said hello, feel free to do so in the chat room. Make yourself known, and we will get started in the process. So Haley is here for some guidance to get her own business started. Susan, we met at CSNN AA. Anyone else meet me at CSNN AA? Alicia, we met last weekend. Awesome. And hi, I am Dan. Awesome. Hi, Jody. Great. Okay, well, I'm going to actually get started in the material, because although I'd love to be able to have a deep conversation with each one of you. Today, we really have a lot of material to cover. And as I mentioned, my goal here today is to help you do what you do and do it better than you're already doing it, more efficiently, to make money at it. And one of the things that I really am passionate about is getting holistic practitioners to believe that it is all right, not just in word, but in their actions, that it's all right to make a lot of money. And there's two things that come up for people, like, oh, I'm not in this work to do this work because of the money. Who's heard that before? I certainly have heard that. I said it before. No one gets into this space as a get-rich-quick scheme. You are here basically because you want to make a difference in the world. And here's the most important thing to understand. You cannot make a difference if you don't know where your money's coming from, if you can't make a means, to an end, and if you can't take care of yourself financially abundantly, there comes a point in time where you either get resentful for all the investments that you're making, in all the passion that you're pouring into it and not being equally rewarded. There's not this kind of basic fair energy exchanged, or you become burnt out from working so hard and not getting anywhere. So I'm passionate about you getting further, farther, faster, and being more effective at what you're doing so that you can help more people. And so if you're in and up for that, that would be awesome. If you can just say, yay, I'm in. Okay. And so let's get started. First of all, I want to say thank you for showing up, because as you know, in life, it is the people who show up consistently that things actually change for them and things make a difference. And so I love this little quote by Meister Eckhart that says, if the only prayer you ever say in your entire life is thank you, it is enough. So I just want to say thank you for showing up today, because a lot of people registered and either they couldn't make it or something got in the way, and they're not here to get this information, which I believe can make a real difference in their life and their business. And as a result of you getting good at it and being able to sustain your message, you're going to help a lot of other people. Okay, so let's get into it. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, haven't met me, or don't know a lot about me, so you may have met me at CSNN AA, and you may not have heard me speak. My background is as a chef and nutritionist, and I had a cooking school in Melbourne, Australia in 1993. I started that. Before that, I was a chef working in some of the best restaurants. And I went on to do a lot of television and was in the media, wrote for magazines, was featured in magazines and national newspapers and all those kinds of things. I was flown around the world for speaking engagements and lifestyle makeovers. And here's a picture of me at Get Calgary Healthy. And for the last 15 years, I've branded myself as a food philosopher. And I really am passionate about helping people understand how to develop a healthier relationship with food, their body, and the planet. And as a result of this and the philosophies that I've developed, I've worked with some really amazing people around the world. People like David Wolfe. No one in this space would not know him. He's pretty well known. Jamie Oliver. No one on the planet, I think, that knows about food knows about him. And Mariel Hemingway. So for those of you who don't know, not only is she an Oscar-nominated actress and author, she's written several books, almost 7 books now, in the wellness space, and she lives the principles that I'm so passionate about. And she's a dear friend, and she wrote the foreword for Return to Food, the Life-Changing Anti-Diet, my first physical book. There's also pictures here. For you Canadians, you'd know who Theo Fleury is, the hockey player, Brett Wilson, and someone who you probably wouldn't know necessarily is Princess Takamoto from the Japanese royal family. There's a picture of us in the bottom left-hand corner at TED. We both gave a TED talk there, and she congratulated me on the work that I was doing, saying that it was really needed in the world. She actually did that 3 times at different points in the day. So you're doing this work, I'm doing this work. Let's get more efficient at it. Now, I wasn't always, the picture of health. And like you, no doubt, many people have come to this space because they've had their own health journey. I was formerly twice my size. I like to joke and say not 10'4", but I was a size 16. And when you're 5'2", that's a tough body to live in. I wasn't comfortable. I lost that weight through the principles that I teach, not through dieting. And I actually gained that weight through dieting. And a lot of the principles that I use to actually take that weight off and keep that weight off, I shared in Return to Food and shared with my clients. And so I got a certain amount of notoriety in what I was doing. And I now share those with people like yourself so that you can then teach other people in a way that they really get it, because the philosophical approach is a fantastic approach to help people really get it so they have a shift in consciousness. Now, as I mentioned, I didn't always have this kind of success. And when I first started my cooking school in Melbourne, Australia, in 1993, I was overwhelmed. I was confused. I didn't know how to sell. I didn't know anything about marketing. People tell me now that I'm a natural speaker when I get up in front of an audience on the stage. When I first started speaking, I had to give a 3-minute talk, and 1 minute and 40 seconds of it, I laughed nervously and giggling because I was just so nervous. It was so bad. So I definitely was not a natural at this. but I grew to get good at it. And I'm going to share some tips with you about that today. And the other thing too is I didn't know how to sell without that kind of cringy feeling of being salesy. I didn't know who I was meant to be serving in the world. I not only didn't understand marketing, the marketing that I saw kind of made me cringe, much like the sales stuff. And I really didn't know how to package, and put things together so that it actually created sustainable income, that I wasn't just selling one thing once and then praying for another person to come along that I could actually sell to. The other thing, I don't know about you, but I did not know how to be productive and effective in what I was doing because I was freaking out and was so overwhelmed by all the things I had to do. Often I had paralysis by analysis, analysis by paralysis, that kind of thing where you're just so overwhelmed that you end up kind of doing stuff, but not really doing stuff. And that's where this chocolate cake picture comes in. I refer to chocolate caking it when I refer to this story. And when I go back to the story, when I first started my cooking school, I had a beautiful office with a lovely view. It was the whole back room of the house that I lived in with my husband at the time. And I had a desk set up and I had a computer. The internet was brand new, so I did not actually know how to work anything on the internet. So I was basically there with a phone book and a phone. It was a rotary dial phone. It wasn't even a push button phone. I did not have a mobile phone. It was before then. And I was freaked out. And so what often happens when we're freaked out, don't know about you, but we go to the thing that we're really good at and comfortable at. And I was a chef. I was great at making things. And somehow in my mind, I'd managed to twist the logic to think, okay, well, I don't know what I'm doing here in front of my desk. Maybe I'll make a cake and the answer will come to me. So I went into the kitchen and I pulled out all the best ingredients, Callebaut chocolate, Dutch cocoa, all organic butter, flour, Madagascar bourbon vanilla, all the best ingredients. And I made a cake that looked very similar to this with the ganache icing. And before I actually had it out of the oven, I put it in the oven and I went and sat back down on my desk. And I just felt this horrible feeling within myself. I felt, even before I was getting out of the gate, I felt like a failure. I felt like I was afraid I wasn't going to make this happen. And I'd taken this huge leap of faith and I was going to disappoint everyone around me. And I was going to create more financial stress for my husband at the time. And I just had a lot of fear. Now, have you ever had any of these challenges? Are there challenges that you've had that I haven't mentioned here? If so, pop it into the chat, because one of the things I know about this whole process of working together is the more you share and the more you engage, the more you get out of it. Oh, Allison, oh, that's so sweet. Not to interrupt, but are you speaking directly to my soul? Oh, that means a lot to me. Thank you for sharing that, because the truth is these things that I've experienced, I know that literally thousands of other people are actually experiencing this. And it's why I'm called to do this work right now, is because I know how incredibly frustrating it is. So I would make my chocolate cake and have it going, and then I would go back to my office. I would feel sick to my stomach. I'd make a phone call. I'd balls it up somehow. I would just be like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. And I'd feel really bad because I didn't know how to make even a proper sales call, how to introduce myself without just saying, hi, buy my cooking school, buy my classes. And then I would make my way into the kitchen and have just a little slice of the chocolate cake. And this one day when I'd made the chocolate cake, I kept going back to my desk, and then I would find this horrible feeling and I would go back to the kitchen and take off a little slice of the cake and eat it and go back to my desk. And then I would find an excuse. Maybe I was a bit too cold, so I'll go and get a sweater. And then I'd walk through the kitchen to the bedroom and have another piece of cake. And by the end of the day, there was a quarter of the cake left. And I thought, I can't throw this away, right? Because it's got too many good ingredients. So I put too much work in it, but I can't leave it because my husband's going to come home and go, where's the other 3/4 of the cake? And I was deeply embarrassed and ashamed, not just of eating the cake, but the fact that it was a real sign that I wasn't productive in my business. And I thought of freezing it and hiding it in the freezer, taking it over to the neighbor, but I didn't want the neighbor coming over and saying, "Oh, thanks for the cake." And my husband going, "What cake?" So many of you know how this story ends. I ended up eating the whole cake. And I know most of you are, you're well and truly on your journey of health. And so eating a whole big chocolate cake isn't uh, a problem for you. It's probably not what you're suffering from. But some of you have a different form of chocolate cake. For you, it might be Facebook. It might be exercise. It might be television. It might be studying, that you just keep studying and studying and studying to avoid actually doing in your business. And I know what that's like, and I want to help you with that. Because even if it's healthy, chocolate caking it, whether it's the healthiest thing in the world that you can be doing, it's not going to get you to where you're going to be, where you're going to actually have a financial foundation that you're comfortable with and that you're going to be able to serve your tribe. So I want to give you tons of information here today, and let's get on with it so that we can get you to that point where you're not chocolate caking it and you're actually making things happen. So one of the stories I like to tell, and I have many, is some of you might know from Return to Food. And I was on an airplane one time going from LA to Dallas. This was in 2009. And this guy asked me what I thought of The Biggest Loser. And I went into this whole diatribe about how The Biggest Loser was the biggest eating disorder. And I went into this whole kind of crazy thing, diatribe. I went on a rant. And I looked up at his hat. After I'd said all these horrible things about The Biggest Loser, truthful things, honest things. And I looked up at his hat, and he had a Biggest Loser hat on. And I was like, "Do you have anything to do with the program?" And he said, "Yeah, I'm one of the casting directors." And I felt like, shrinking, shriveling down into my seat and alternating my feet in my mouth, that kind of thing. But it was interesting because he actually acknowledged a few of the points I made. And so we are, as an industry, we're contending with the biggest loser mentality. And it is that consciousness that's actually harming people. And for us to actually help them, we need to help them shift consciousness. We can't just tell them what to eat and what not to eat. We really need to work with them to shift their consciousness. And in some respects, that's kind of what it's like for us in business with our challenges, is that we need to shift our consciousness around how we actually view what we do, how we view selling it is what we do, and we need to get good at this. So I'm just going back to the chat to see that Allison, yes, that's exactly what I would do. Mine is a bag of chocolate chips, though I'm not as much of a baker. Haley, I did this with food and exercise when I was doing my CSNN through correspondence. Jody, that's me studying to avoiding, and Tracy, same. So you guys know where I'm coming from, and I'm guessing that you want to break this cycle and switch it up and make sure that we're not doing this anymore. So we want to switch our consciousness and our mentality around what we're doing. And what I do now is I really help people to do this. And I've been running the Return to Food Academy. This is going into the 5th year now, the 5th intake of it, and really helping people to develop a business around this, whether you become a Return to Food coach or you just use the materials to help you with your business. The things I'm going to teach you will absolutely help. And the people who are actually doing this work are now making a difference in the world, and I'm not selling you anything that's a get-rich-quick scheme. This is hard work. It's real work, and it will challenge you. But I promise you that when you get into this work and you actually start to do it and you face your fears and you move through them and you do the work, magic shifts will actually happen for you. So there we go. Okay, so what I want you to do right now is, if you have a pen and paper in front of you, or your computer or something, or even into the chat if that's helpful, I want you to get real right now and share with me, what is the most painful challenge you're facing right now professionally? What is it? Is it around finding a niche? Is it around creating income right away? Is it the selling thing? Is it marketing? are you, confident speaking in front of a group or not? And I think, yeah, we've definitely had Allison's being really honest and transparent to us to say that, the inability to be productive, is that the biggest thing? What's the thing that's keeping you up at night and causing you the most frustration or overwhelm or angst? So if you just want to take a few moments, we can play some game show music in the back. So yeah, so Stephanie shared with us getting started. I feel as though I don't know enough to come across well. Ooh, that's a great one, Stephanie. I'm glad you shared that one with me. And that, you know what? That is such a common fear that people have that keeps them from not actually moving ahead. And I want to share with you the first cooking class that I did. I had 4 people. It might have been 3 people, but for some reason I remember 4. And I was teaching bread making. And I did not know a lot about bread making. But I knew I knew what I wanted to do, and I knew I had to get started. So I did this bread making course, and people went away, and they were happy enough. No one went away like telling all their friends and things like that. But I wouldn't eat that bread that I ate today. But they paid $25 for the class, and they were happy with it. That was in 1993. And so you don't have to know everything. You just have to know more than the people that you're teaching to get going. Okay, so we got some really good juicy bits happening in here. Okay, so I'm just gonna move my little cursor up here. Okay, so Stephanie's getting started, don't know how to come across well. Haley, creating income right away to confidently move away from my current job, which is stressing me out, and I'm not helping people as much as I could be. Haley, you are in a group of a lot of people I totally relate to, and I understand myself, I've been there. Susan says, I feel the same as Stephanie, but also being able to get out there, networking, and selling myself. Ooh, we've got some good things here that I definitely can help with. Fear of giving wrong advice to clients from Kay. How to sell without being pushy. The belief that I'm good enough to start charging a fee. I just graduated and I'm used to doing case studies for free. Allison, that's a great one. Overcoming procrastination due to fear of failure. From Janet. Many ideas, but which one to go to first? That's a great one, Dan. And Nadia, the fear of being financial stability. I fear not making enough money. How to coach successfully and confidently so clients feel I'm worth it. Oh my goodness, I can so relate to all of you guys. I really, really understand and I feel your pain. And one of the big part of actually moving forward is to really get real about what's what you're struggling with, because you can't just sit in denial like I did, chocolate caking it into a size 16, because you're not going to be able to help anyone that way. Tracy's just added in here, developing online presence effectively. These are all great things to cover. So thank you very much for your transparency and honesty. I love that. So today I'm going to share with you 4 things you need to succeed in this business and 3 of the biggest mistakes that will keep you broke and struggling. And I'm going to show you a sample of how I've made $70,000 a year as a food coach. I'm going to give you some time to do a Q&A, and I'm also going to offer you something to help you in your journey. So I've been working intensely in the last little while to help build something that I really feel will help people get some inertia happening, get some momentum happening so that they can actually move themselves forward and deal with all of these things that you guys are talking about. This is, I really feel that of all the work that I've done to date, and I've had some pretty exciting things, happen, and I still have some exciting things happening. This is the work that when I wake up in the morning, I'm most inspired by to help you guys with these things. So let's get into it. Okay, so the biggest mistake you could make over the next 90 minutes, less than that now, is to make the assumption that somehow I am better than you, or I was born with more gifts than you, or there's something that I have that you don't have. And the truth is we all have something that the other person doesn't have. We all have, we come together to this life with unique experiences. And like I liken it to a mosaic of, if you have ever seen those incredibly beautiful mosaics that are done, or a tapestry, and that every stitch or every tile and every color that's produced is really one of your life experiences. And it all comes together to create this amazingness of complexity of all that you are. And I truly believe that everything that you've done in the past, all you've studied, all, the work that you've done, the skills that you've mastered, the experiences that you've had, the painful and the good, serve a purpose for what it is you're meant to be doing, and that you have a million bits of information, experiences, stories that can actually help you help other people. And that is the truth. You have just as much amazingness in you as I do. I absolutely know that. And the thing that probably sets me apart from other people is that I just never wavered from the thought that I am meant to be doing this work. Now, doesn't mean I didn't have doubts. Many times I've had doubts. Many times I've thought I should just get a job, but I don't know how to do that anymore. I often say that I'm not employable and no company would have me and I wouldn't have me. And probably the biggest reason is because I'm so committed to this work and I'm so committed to this journey. That's what sets me apart from anyone else. And I read a book. This is going back 30 years ago now. And it was called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway. I'm sure many of you have heard it. And I decided to live by that. So my life and the things I've done have not been done with the absence of fear. As I got onto this call, I put a little post on Facebook and I said, oh my goodness, about to go live with this webinar. I'm really excited about it, but how many of you feel it's easier to speak to 1,000 people live than to speak to 100 people online? So I still feel fear, even making this call. But you know what? I live my life in a way that I don't say no to things, and I follow through with things despite that fear. Oh, Carmen, thank you. You love my book. I'm so excited. Oh, no, you love Susan Jeffers' book. Sorry, my ego just got took over for a second there. It's a great book, and I highly recommend it to everyone. So the biggest mistake you could make is to assume that I'm somehow more special than you. I have done some incredibly special things in my life, but it has come about because I just had this belief that I was meant to be doing this work, and I wasn't willing to give it up. And I was willing to make sacrifices to actually get to this place. So if you're willing to work hard and you're willing to push and work through your fears, all those things that you dream about doing in this space are entirely possible. They may not be done in the way I've done them. Chances are they won't be done in the way I've done them. They may not be done in the way that JJ Virgin or Chris Carr does them, but you can absolutely do this in your own unique, amazing, and loving way. Okay, so please just throughout the call, please write down any and all questions that you might have. So if you don't feel like popping them into the chat, you don't have to, but you may want to just write them down, because by the end of the call, you may feel like working. You may feel like asking that question. Okay, just quickly, Allison says, please say the name of the book again. The name of the book is Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway by Dr. Susan Jeffers. Great book. Okay, so let's get started with the actual work. Okay, so I want you to write down now, in the chat room, if you feel like it, or privately, your best life. What does it look like? So just a couple sentences. I want you to kind of think of, what if I was your Sherry godmother and I could grant you any wish, and that wish was you could actually say, this is my best life. Just tell me a few things of what that life would actually look like. And it differs for every single person. So this is where comparison is really dangerous. And that's why I try not to go overboard about comparing my life to anyone else's, because I've made very different choices in my life. But for me, some of the basics that are really important is I don't want the restrictions of a 9-to-5 job. I love working from home. I've worked from home since 1993, and anytime I, have gone out to do consulting for other people, in particular in corporations, it feels like I'm being constricted. It feels like I can't breathe freely. So for me, my best life is working from home. My best life is serving other people. I love to live in an environment where I can see nature. That's really important to me. So I like a light-filled home. I like to be able to cook my 3 meals a day from home. You know, I like the freedom to go out and do appointments. I like to do interesting projects and things like that. So what does your life look like? It doesn't have to be anything like mine, but you have to start off with knowing what it is that you want your life to be like, more than just saying, I don't want to be like it is now. So the more specific you get about your life, the more you can use the tools that I'm about to share with you to actually create that. So what does it look like? What does it feel like? What does it smell like? You know, get really clear on your best life, because that's one of the biggest tools you can use to actually apply the materials, the things I'm about to share with you. And what I want you to know is I want for you what you want for you, but I also want for you what you need. And sometimes we live in a world that really promotes what it is that we want more so than what we need. And this is really important, because it's often the things that we need that are the things that will actually propel us and give us the things that we truly want. And you must know this from your clients. So many people focus on the foods they want to eat, and they neglect the things that they need to eat. And it's the same thing in business. If you don't get the things that you need, you don't get the basics in there, if you're not nourished and your foundation's not right, then getting what you want, which is, you know, if you think in food terms, you know, clear vision and vibrant health and, you know, a healthy body, it's not going to happen. We need to get really, really clear on both of those things. So I want to give you a few things that I believe that you're going to need for this journey. And I'll just reiterate, if you're looking for a get-rich-quick magic pill answer, not your girl, can't help you. And but I can show you a gateway to a life that you will absolutely pinch yourself with gratitude for starting on. And just to let you know, this is a little picture of my backyard through the window coming up the stairs. I often say this is the nicest picture in the house. It's not a painting, but it's a lovely picture. So I want you to think about, what does your dream business look like? Okay, does it involve speaking? Does it involve writing a book? Do you have special skills and talents that you think, I love doing this, but I have no idea how I'm going to connect it to what it is I do? I love illustrating. So if you've seen Return to Food, the book, I include my illustrations that are tied in with the food, so that I managed to work that gift, or that, you know, skill or talent, however you want to call it, into the work that I do. And it brings a layering of that tapestry that when I get up and present, I don't have the same slides as everyone else. I have something that's very intimately different than what other people are doing. I like singing. I'm not good at it. I don't care. I believe that Bob off of Sesame Street was right when he said, sing out loud. You know, don't worry if it's not good enough for anyone else to hear, just sing, okay? And so when I was a chef, I was constantly taking songs, and in the kitchen, I would drive my staff nuts, but I would take a song and I would put new words to it. So when I presented the other day at Dream Talks, I started out saying, what the world needs now is food, real food. It's the only thing that is going to nourish you. Now, I have no illusions that I'm going to be on the Idol stage, but I get to sing on stage. And the great thing is because they're expecting a nutrition talk, no one expects me to sing well, and I just get to play. So what are the things that are uniquely you that you can actually bring to your business? So Stephanie says, I love illustrating too. Well, there's so many things that you can do, Stephanie, with social media and with your work and recipes, all that kind of thing, where you can actually create something that no one else is doing, because they're your illustrations. And I've created cards for my illustrations. I've created posters from it. There's so many things you can actually do. So Allison says, wild success through my creative freedom from owning my own business, one-on-one nutritional counseling, 3 days a week, 3 days per week, public speaking events 5 times a year at conferences throughout Canada, creating a close connection with other alternative and allopathic practitioners to develop a new culture in my region of a functional approach to improving the health of others. That's awesome, Allison. Good on you. So get clear about what that dream life looks like, because visualization is absolutely important and it does make a difference, okay? So let's talk about mistake number 1. And this is going to seem counterintuitive, because it might actually even seem like I'm contradicting myself. But The first mistake people do in this industry is they get all excited after they graduate from school, and then they go out onto their own and they do it alone. And they spend a lot of time and anxiety trying to figure out everything on their own. And it's kind of like it's you Inc., right? And you're meant to know everything. And how in the world are you meant to know everything? So doing it alone is definitely the number one mistake. And the antidote for that is to find your tribe. So to find the people that think the way you do, that believe what you believe, that are, passionate about what it is you're doing. And so what happens often when we graduate from school is we see our tribe members in school as our tribe. And then once we graduate, we can start to see them as competitors. And that it really is an old model. It's a divisive model, and it's not a model that's going to help us develop as an industry and to make substantial change in the world. So you need to find those people that believe what you believe. And I'm talking about professionally now, not your niche, not your tribe that you're meant to serve. These are the people that you're meant to actually stick together. And in particular, people who have been where you want to go. So they know the ropes, they know what the trials and tribulations are, and you want to be able to offer value back to them. So if you can't afford to pay for their services, you're going to find ways to get mentored by them. And when you want to be mentored by someone who's, several steps in front of you on that path, you want to be able to actually add value to them. Okay, so get with your tribe and get going. So I want you to just write down right now, who is it that you know that basically you can actually get together with, even if it's like a mastermind group or a few people who are on the same path as you. Is there a Facebook group that you're getting a lot of fuel from that's feeding you? Are you active in that Facebook group? That's a big part of it. So if you want help in the world and you want to be out there, you need to engage and be helping other people. And I can tell you this from experience because I did it way too long on my own. And I now belong to several networking groups, different networking groups that serve different purposes for my business life. And it makes a huge, huge difference. Okay, so Dan wants to guide people in their kitchen to cook with fun. That is an awesome thing, Dan. That's a super awesome thing. Okay, so that's mistake number one. Let's go on to two. Okay, so mistake number two is making someone else responsible for your success. Okay, so don't make anyone else responsible for your success. What can happen is, I don't know about you, but sometimes people can have the fantasy that I'm just going to get so good at what I do that someone's going to come along and they're going to see how talented I am, and they're going to see what a great business opportunity this is, and they're going to do all the things in business that I hate doing. Whether you might fantasize about that being your partner or some business person that's going to come out of the woodwork to do it, please don't do this. And the number one reason for not doing this is not, I don't want to discourage you from having a dream and a vision of having a business partner that you're working with. This is something different. What I want you to do is, what I don't want you to do is to have that vision and neglect the skills that you need in the meantime of finding that person, so that you're not actually doing the things that are absolutely essential for your business right now. And I know it can seem really overwhelming to have to juggle so many different things, but just understand, if you just get 3 things done a day and you become responsible for those things and you just keep moving in the direction of your dreams, things will start to shift and happen, particularly if you're consistent at them. Okay. Thanks, Haley, about your group on Vancouver Island. Sometimes we need to be the leader to reignite these groups and just to ignite people. I'm not saying you need to take it over and then it becomes something that distracts you from getting your business done, but maybe you can reach out to them and try to reignite things. Okay, so you are alone, responsible for your business, but you don't have to do it alone, if that makes sense. And so you need to find different ways to get things done that that you can't do yourself. And when finances are really tight initially, you can often be doing this, finding people in the community who are looking for your coaching services, who might be willing to do some admin work or, you know, helping you out in certain areas. There's always ways to find help, even if you can't, you know, necessarily afford to pay people to start. Okay. So when you give others the power for your success or failure, you also give them your power to grow. And so you really want to be tapped in and tuned on and in control of that power of your personal responsibility. So mistake number 3 is waiting for it to be perfect before you start. Okay, honesty time. Who can relate to this? Waiting for it to be perfect before you start. I call it the INGES. The INGES is an acronym I came up with for I'm not good enough and it's not good enough. And perfectionism is a variation onto either of those, so you don't actually get going on anything. Okay, who can relate to I'm not good enough or it's not good enough? Yep, we're getting a lot of yeses, yeps, definitely me. Yes, yep, definitely. And you know what? I don't think it goes away. That's the bad news and the good news. I believe that when anything is a universal human experience, that it is somehow there to help us evolve. And I think it's only when it's out of control or it's misused or misinterpreted that it becomes problematic for us. I believe that I'm not good enough and it's not good enough is just an evolutionary mechanism that says keep growing. And when it's in its healthy stage, we keep growing, we evolve, we push ourselves harder, we learn. Life becomes alive for us. And when it's unhealthy, we use it as a way of flogging ourselves and, you know, self-flagellation and holding ourselves back and, you know, and negative self-talk that keeps us stuck and not doing anything. It's kind of like the ego. The ego is universal to humanity. We experience it universally, and I believe that when it's healthy, it's a tool for us to evolve, and when it's unhealthy, it keeps us stuck and devolving. I love that, Allison. Love your honesty. You're in therapy for that exact issue just today. Wow, that is honest. And I can tell you that there's many, many more who aren't in therapy for it, who are just sitting in silence and suffering in silence because they're not actually actively taking action for it. But I think knowing that it's a universal experience and that we can actually use that to harness that to evolve and grow and to be of service to mankind, or we can use it to devolve. So you get to choose. And so mistake number 3 is definitely about waiting for it to be perfect to start. And I love Goethe's quote where he says, whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And he goes on, and it's further. Magic actually shows up when I'm taking action. Please say that to yourself right now, because I have seen it happen so many times in my own life and in my students' lives and other people's lives. The magic shows up when I'm taking action. I used to have fantasies that, you know, someone would come and see me speaking and they would go, oh man, I can make, you know, millions of dollars from this girl and I'll just be her manager and exploit her, and that fantasy kept me from doing the business things that actually had me doing some very interesting things in the world. And when I got over that and I just started to take action and I was committed to that action, and what I noticed is the things that I was most committed to, the things that seemed impossible but I just didn't even think about them, I just went ahead and did it. That was when magic actually happened. And Goethe, just to go further, he says, until one is committed, there is hesitancy, a chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. There's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never have otherwise occurred, and a whole stream of events, of issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. Whatever you can do or dream, you can. Begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. So this is the antidote, and the thing that you're most afraid of, just do something and start it today. Just attending this webinar, I know for many of you, will make a big difference in actually taking action. So congratulations to you. Okay, so waiting for it to be perfect if you start, magic shows up when I'm taking action. I'll talk a little bit about this later too when I show you my actual blueprint. So I just want to take a quick little break. It's almost like a little intermission break. But I believe that you're actually here to do something amazing. I really do. I think every one of us has the potential for amazingness in us. And so if you were to be able to do anything in this world, and you were actually to be able to leave a legacy, and you could sum it up in one sentence, what would that be? What would be the absolute ultimate legacy and gift that you would like to leave the world? Now, it's interesting because it's going to be different for every one of us, and it's really important. We can have different variations on the theme, but it's going to be different. And I have a dream to have 10,000 food coaches in the world. And as a result of that, I want to be able to use the resources from that to be part of the solution of cleaning up water on the planet and having safe drinking water for all people on the planet. It's it's just a big passion of mine. And I don't care legacy-wise if my name's connected to it, but that's the thing that I want to be here on the planet to do. What is that amazing thing that you want to do? Okay. Well, in order to have something amazing happen, what I do know is you are going to have to get ready for failure. And there's a great expression in business: fail fast and quickly and learn from it and get up again. So how do you, when you've fallen 7 times, how do you get up again and again? Well, you get up 8 times, right? Because strong people fall sometimes, but they get back up. And strong people make mistakes, but they fix them. Strong people fail, but they try again. Sonia Parker tells us, right? So if you have that wonderful dream, like Haley has, to want to help people love themselves and love their bodies and be healthy, or Allison, that people don't remember what I said to them, but remember how I made them feel empowered and connected. These are easy dreams that you guys can achieve. Absolutely doable, completely doable, right? Great legacies to have in the world. In order to get there, we must be willing to let go of a life we plan so as to have a life that's waiting for us. I love Joseph Campbell's work. And in Return to Food, I talk about the holistic hero's journey and how there is this thing that you have learned in life that you are now come full circle and you're meant to be sharing with the world. And I really want to help you get good at getting that out and sharing it with the world. Because when you raise your standards, the universe will meet you there. I promise you. You get the intention, you get clear, and you move towards it, the universe will absolutely meet you there. And this is one of my favorite illustrations from Return to Food. I did this in a cafe in Melbourne. And the next day I had the outline for the drawing. And the next day I was doing like the little circles you see in the dots on the cape and the curly bits of hair. And I was in a cafe across the city, doing the detail work. And I looked up and there was this guy who was, it looked like I'd just done the profile drawing of him. He was exactly in that position. He was not wearing a cape. He did not have a Super Me tat on, but I just pushed this drawing in front of the guy and he just burst out laughing. And he said, "Did you just draw that now?" And I was like, "No, I drew it yesterday." And I mentioned the cafe across town. And he was like, "Whoa." So this illustration says, become your own hero. Do the thing you fear you cannot do, but feel you were born to do. The thing you most admire in others, but in your own unique, amazing, and loving way. And I think that's what we're here for. That's my mission, is to help you to become your own hero, to overcome your fears, and do that thing that you're meant to be doing. Okay, I'm with you. So in order to do that, you need to start making some money, and you need multiple streams of income. So not just one way of making income. So if you want to, teach people classes, you need to also be selling products at your classes, and you need to find other ways to make income that's not just one stream. And this will actually help you create sustainability within your business and give you a peace of mind within your work that will help you sustain the message that you so eagerly want to get out to the world. This is a stream in literally about 20 steps out of my backyard in West Vancouver here. And yeah, I'm really passionate about having water around me. So if you think about all the terms like bank, cash flow, there's all kinds of water terms that are related to income. So source of water, source of income, all those kinds of things. You want to start to have three. So just write down right now, in the chat room you can do it, or on your own piece of paper, if you were to have three sources of income that you would love to be making money from. Maybe they're online products, information products, cooking classes, seminars, workshops, retreats. Do you want to be paid as a speaker? Do you want to have your own show? You know, what are those three sources? But you need to start writing this down for your long-term plan, because you want to be able to not just be dependent on one and kind of work off of each other to create this income. I now have several streams, and but I didn't have them starting off. Remember, I just started off with one class. So you can do this, and I'm gonna, you know, be committed to helping you get there much further and farther and faster than I did. Number two, you need to be able to speak confidently and articulate your message. And the biggest thing around this is you just need to get out there and be speaking. So it took me many years to formulate my message, and I just never gave up on refining it. And the interesting thing, there's a fantastic thing that happens. You can prepare all you want for a speech, but when you show up and you're completely present in the moment, all this other kind of stuff, it feels like your channeling just comes through you, and you say all these amazing things, and you're just like, man, I am so smart. Did anyone write that down, or did we record that? And that's another good reason to record all the speeches that you give, is because sometimes when people ask you a question, or you're just talking and extemporaneously off the top of your head, there's amazing kind of wisdom that actually moves through you. And the more you get out there, the more you're able to refine and articulate your message, the more people will be drawn to work with you. They're going to be like, oh man, I could listen to her all day or him all day, and I just want to work with that person. And the more you're able to do this, the more attractive you will be for business. And I can promise you, the best experiences of my life have all come about because I was able to articulate my message well. And the better I got at it, the more people wanted it and wanted to hear. And they're much more likely, once you do that, to be able to buy what it is you're offering. Because if you can get so clear at articulating it, and here's a little marketing piece tip. If you're able to articulate their problems better than they can, they will assume you have the solution and be much more likely to buy from you. I learned that tip from an internet marketer called Evan Pagan, and I'll just reiterate it because I think it's really good value. If you're able to articulate their problem better than they can, they assume you have the solution and will be much more likely to buy from you. So get good at speaking and use every opportunity you can get out there to speak. I don't care if you have to set up, some dolls in your room. That might be a bit creepy. The animals in your room, or go out to senior citizens' homes or churches or anywhere that people will have you to start communicating. And one of the things with Return to Food Academy, when I teach my students, is what I have been finding, because of the way I've articulated the concepts and philosophies from Return to Food, and have taught them, and they're now learning to do it. Within 3 months, they're getting as good at articulating this message as it took me over 10 years to do. So practice does make, not perfect, but good enough. So get out there and do it. Okay. 3, niche. You've got to find your niche. One of the biggest things that I will find when people will come to me and I'll say, so who's your product good for? And they say, everyone. And more often than not, I know that's a recipe for broke. And when I first started out, I was like, well, everyone needs to hear this message. But the truth is that not everyone was willing to hear the message, and it wasn't appropriate for everyone. So you need to get good at finding your niche and finding out what it is, how they actually think and how they feel and their behaviors, and finding out how to reach them and where to reach them. Because once you do, and you start to build your products and materials around a certain niche, it's so much easier for people to find you and for you to find the people. Unless you have absolute celebrity star status, like the Jamie Olivers of the world, or the Chris Carrs of the world. Even Chris Carr has a niche. She has, people that, she's serving people, who have cancer, So there's definitely a niche there, but unless you have that supreme celebrity status, you need to find your people that you're going to serve. Here's a piece that a lot of resistance comes up for people in the holistic space, and just pop into the chat room if you're confident to have a little bit of transparency. Who here loves selling? That's my question to you. Who just can't wait to get up in the morning and sell something? Who here is afraid of selling, is scared of selling, feels icky selling, is afraid of being salesy? Okay, most people don't love selling until they get the connection to how what it is truly serves other people. And when you get to that place where you found something or you've created something that you know without a shadow of doubt really helps people, and you know that by them having this and actually having an energetic exchange, not just giving it to them, because if you give people stuff, they don't value it the same way. I can promise you. They won't. But when they invest in it, they're much more likely to use it. So you need to find something that you fall in love with. And when you love something, who here has actually found something they absolutely love and people are buying it all the time? Who finds it easy to convince someone to buy a Vitamix or a high power blender? Most people in this space do, right? But we have this funny kind of faulty mechanism that if there's money involved, somehow I'm not doing them a service, and it couldn't be further from the truth. When there's an energetic exchange, and that's what money is, it's the physical manifestation, not even physical anymore, of an energetic exchange. And when you can provide something with absolute, value that you would absolutely love yourself, it changes the dynamic. And this takes practice. It takes getting used to. I bought a grater. I was given a grater. You can see it in the picture here. I branded it. This is Zoodlemaker. My girlfriend was moving to London. She had a box of stuff she gave me. I started using it. I was like, oh man, this makes the best zucchini noodles. It's so quick. It's so easy, clean up, all that kind of thing. And everything I grate with it tastes better. Not kidding. And so I loved it so much that when I moved back to Canada from being in Australia 22 years ago, I got the North American rights to sell it. And sometimes I will sell, 20 of them in a class, or I will sell 100 a day, or 200. Actually, the first CSNN conference I went to, I sold 200 in the first day. We sold out, right? So I have no problem selling. And that was a real turning point for me. It's like, I don't have a problem selling this because I just love this thing. And I know that every person who has one, as a result, is going to be eating more vegetables because of it. So the trick is find a product that you love, just start selling it and start seeing how all the different ways that can actually create an advantage for people. And when it comes to selling yourself or a product that you create, it's the exact same thing. I love selling my Zoodlemaker. I love selling my book. I know that there's way, way more value in it than people are actually paying for it. And I do the same thing with my products. I always create something where they're getting way more value in it if they actually use it and apply it. It's not going to be great if the book just sits there on the counter, or the Zoodlemaker sits in the cupboard, or the product never gets used. But if they use it, I know they're going to get way more value. And that's how I've learned to love selling. So you just sell from that soul where you've fallen in love with something, you just put time in, you practice, and you help people find solutions. And when it comes to selling yourself, you just have to know your value, right? Just get connected to what it is that you do. I'm just going to, there we go, back again. Okay, now here is my little kind of bonus bit that I want to share with you. Hustle your bustle. This is the thing that kind of makes all the difference for people. And what I found in my life is the thing that stopped me from getting out there and working and moving and trying things was the inges, that it's not good enough or I'm not good enough. It was some form of that fear. But when I just put that fear to the side and recognized I'm going to feel afraid, I'm going to feel not good enough, I'm going to feel it's not good enough, but I'm going to do this anyway. And I just kept moving in that direction. that is where things started to happen for me. Magic started happening, and I got good at things, and offers and great things started to come to me. So it's a matter of just getting out there, and particularly when you're new, saying yes to lots of things. Now, if you're already so busy and you've got tons of work and you're just learning how to divide your time and space it out so that you can live more holistically, it's probably not appropriate. But when you're starting out and you have an empty schedule, you start to fill it up. And you start to fill it up with things that are going to grow you and things that might scare you a little bit, but are there to help you to do this work. And that's, again, another place. It's that Goethe, boldness, has such power in it. Just start moving ahead and, say yes to talks, start creating products. It doesn't matter if they're not good enough, because in order to create something great, you're going to have to create some average things to start with. The first product I created in this space, apart from, cooking classes, and speeches and that kind of thing, was I did a CD and a cassette tape. Now, I am dating myself, and it was called The Thinning Palette. And I hired a recording studio. I hired a designer to actually create the packaging for it. I did all of those things, and I worked hard and I hustled my bustle. And I had just joined the National Speakers Association, and 6 months later, I won the Best New Speaker Award. And it was basically because I hustled my bustle. Now, is that product something I would sell today? Nope. And that was over 16 years ago. So it doesn't have the same relevance, but I had to learn all of those things and do all those things. And I did sell them. I sold them at presentations, and at least I had a product I was selling rather than not having something there. And did that product help people, even though I wouldn't sell it today? It absolutely did. So just start to hustle your bustle, get some stuff done, and get out there. So think of some ways right now. If you were to do one thing after this course, or this opportunity that we have to spend time together and talk, if you're just to do one thing to take action on, and it was that one thing that would actually help move the other things forward, what would be that one thing that you could do that would take action now, that would set you up for another thing that's going to create some income for you? So say if your desire is to get people in the kitchen, to be working in the kitchen, one, you could start to invite people to a class. You can start people to an informal class and just have them cover the costs of the ingredients. And then when they come to that class, you get them to give you a testimonial. And you can even have feedback forms. What would you do better? What would be better to do? What did you love? What would you repeat? What would you like more of? So you're just taking action. And it doesn't have to be this amazing monumental class that you're making tons of money from, but you're starting. And then when you get so good at it that your schedule starts to get busier and busier, you can go beyond covering your costs, and you're making money off of it, and you're really leveraging the reputation that you're getting out there, and just start taking action. And just like your journey of health, you took some action to get you from where you were to where you are now. It's just a matter of keep every day showing up. And we've talked about this. We've covered leaving, what you would like to leave as your legacy. And what kind of dream business would you like to create? And it's really important to figure out how you want to create your life too. So at this point, I just want to share with you, this is one model of how you can make $70,000 a year as a food coach. Now, will you see this right now and then all of a sudden in 12 months be able to create $70,000? I don't know. I have no idea about how hard you work or where you are in your journey and what you're willing to put into this. But what I do know is if you are willing to work it, you're willing to put it in, it absolutely is possible. And so here's an example of what you can do. If you just did if you just hold an introductory class, say 1 to 2 times a month, and you got 20 people into it, and you charge $25, everyone can create a class for $25. Think about all the stuff that you've learned in the last year, and just take 3 things that you've learned that you wish you'd known last year, you can create a class from that. And you can charge 20 people $25 for that. And that is totally possible in a month. So 1 to 2 classes, even if it's 3. Then you can actually sell or create a product. When I have return to food coaches, I show them how I've got a 7-day challenge that starts on the first Monday of every month. It goes for 7 days, and it's the Return to Food Anti-Diet Challenge. And when you become a food coach, you can actually sell that. It sells to the public for $97. You can sell that and you can make a $60 commission. So say you were just to sell 10 of those a month. Well, that would be $600. If you sold 20, that would be $1,200. Now, for some of my coaches, they're creating their own products and doing that themselves. But one of the things I'm really passionate about is get in the game to actually start selling products. Okay, so there might be a product out there where you can make $60 up, and that you can sell 10 of them a month because you're so passionate about it, you believe in it, and it's awesome. And there are literally thousands of products online that are ethical, that you can use to help improve people's lives, that you can make a commission off of. So that's just having that kind of information product. And then a return to food coaching program. If you sold one person into my return to food coaching program, you would make a $500 commission. If you sold 2 people into it, you'd make $1,000. I'm not the only one who has programs like this. There are lots of affiliate programs that you can actually be selling and promoting. There's a business called ClickBank. If you haven't heard about it already, clickbank.com, where you can go in and you can shop for products that you would love to buy, that you would be keen to sell people to. So if you're doing a consult and someone has a nutritional product, an information product that will help them along their journey to get healthier and reiterate and, inculcate the things that you're teaching them, you can actually make income from that. So if you were to sell one person into the Return to Food Academy, that would be $1,000 you would make a commission off of. And so now, I'm not saying you have to sell anyone into my Return to Food Academy. As a coach, you're able to do that and make a commission. But there's lots of other programs out there where if you are so inspired about it, there will be affiliate programs around it that will give you that kind of commission. They're out there. And the great thing about this is that you can have that information up on your website so that when you're out doing classes or you're doing consults and people click on it and they go, oh, this is amazing. She's recommending this, or he's suggesting I do this, and they go and buy it, that you get an affiliate commission. And if you're out there doing intro classes and cooking classes and workshops and you're selling products that support that, so say product sales. So when I first started doing classes, I would sell olive oil and sea salt, and I would sell the zoodle makers, and it wasn't easy, it wasn't difficult to make $500 in one class because you're just so passionate about these things, right? So the other thing you can do is once a year plan to do a retreat. Okay, so Allison, you're talking about creating a free lecture for local medical doctors about how they can improve their own health and help them see the value of your services to their patients in order to propel referrals. Here's just an idea. I'm throwing it out into the wind. Might be crazy to you, might not be, but you can actually do a retreat once a year for doctors on how they can actually help their clients with the nutritional side of things. And there is definitely, you could do a retreat once a year and doctors could come. Doctors don't have a problem paying, $2,000 or $3,000 for a workshop, a weekend workshop, and you could be showing them information on how they can actually help their clients. Okay, and so then they can refer patients to you. And that's just another side benefit that comes from that referral. There's speaking engagements. And as I've talked to you before, speaking is so powerful, really important you get out there speaking. And if you just do one speaking engagement a month and you're getting either referrals or you're selling products from it, or you can enroll people into your coaching programs, then that will make a big difference at the end of the year. And if you're just doing one cooking class or workshop in your niche area once a week and you get 10 people into it and you charge them $70 each, when you start to do all of these things, and I'm not trying to overwhelm you, you don't have to do all of this. You can just do one or two or three of those things. Remember I said three streams of income, and you just do more of it than that. magic will start to show up. So I'll just show you what this looks like after a year. And I always times this by 11, not 12, because I want you to take a month off. Does that sound appealing to you? Okay, you can do this. So look at the numbers here. If you just get 20 people into your introductory class at $25, over 11 months, you make $5,500. If you're selling an information product and you sell 10 a month, that's $6,600. And if you sell 20 a month and you're making a $60 commission, that's $13,200. Then if you go into these coaching programs where you can be creating an affiliate commission, it's the great thing about compounding is that if you just set out to do, I'm just going to do one of these a week and one of these a month, and two of these a week or two of these a month, you can start to see that this starts to compound. And all of these things combined based on those figures over 11 months, that's $86,000. Now, I'm assuming there's going to be costs for that, so that's why I say it's $70K. So if you're making $86,000, you can definitely get all of this done for, with hard costs of $16,000. And then this is the place where the doors open where you didn't know doors exist, as Joseph Campbell talks about in The Hero's Journey, and the magic shows up. And say all those other things just overwhelm you and you just want to focus on 3 things. So say you're going to do introductory classes and you're going to do 2 cooking classes or workshops a week, and you're going to get 10 people into them. That's your $70,000 there, right? And then if you do a retreat once a week, think about if you have that many people coming through your classes each week, that you're going to find one person a month who'd like to come to a retreat. And those are your 3 things where you can make $70K a year. You don't have to do all of these things. It doesn't have to be overwhelming. And you can find a way of doing it that is unique to you and works for you. But I just want to show you that it is entirely possible. Okay, so just to show you some of the products I've created, I created the Return to Food 7-Day Challenge. It's $97. I've got a group, I do private salons. So I was in San Francisco a few weeks ago, did a private class for a woman who invited 10 of her friends it was $97 a person. They got a zoodle maker, a book, the 7-Day Challenge, and I did a class for them, and they all left feeling like they've just been on one of Oprah's shows getting all these gifts. It's very exciting for them. But this is something that you can do. I have an 8-week coaching program, and this is the coaching program where I would actually take clients through. And this is the reason I started to get celebrity CEOs and billionaires to get engaged and to hire me. And why I started to develop a reputation is because wasn't just working on the food, I was working on a multidimensional level, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically. And so I had true transformation that was happening with my clients. Did that happen overnight? No. None of this has to happen overnight. You just need to get started. And this is what the platform looks like for the Return to Food programs, the Academy online. So you get videos and the modules that you work into. So the Academy is a 10-month program. You're a Return to Food coach in 5 months. There's a retreat on Bowen Island for 7 days where we do some amazing stuff. It's just awesome. I've got our retreat's coming up on June 20th. So lots of work to do before that. I did not do all of this overnight. I just got started. And the thing is when you just focus on the legacy, you focus on the people that you want to serve, it doesn't feel like crazy hard work. It feels like something that inspires you and fuels you to get up in the morning. And so it's really important that you learn how to teach and speak powerfully and professionally and create a thriving business. So that just to show you, these are some of the things that I'm offering. I offer in the Return to Food Academy. I've over a period of time, and I've just created these in the last 5 years. So prior to that, I didn't have any of this. And I didn't do it all at once, but I just kept producing. And now I've got a whole suite of things that I can actually offer people and be of service to people, like this retreat, which is amazing, on Bowen Island, where we're in the kitchen cooking holistically. We start off the morning at a meditation sanctuary. We do yoga in the yurt, and we go kayaking, which is where you go and have organic pie and kayaking on the same night, and just lots of fun things. And as a result, I managed to change the lives of many of my students. You know, Chloe Alger has a blog called Chloe's Countertop. If you haven't already heard of her, check her out. She's absolutely amazing. She just did a workshop on the weekend with another student, Melanie Emlin, beautiful workshop. And she's launching her first book, Living in Light, June 11th at the Juice Truck here in Vancouver, which is really cool. And she basically credits a lot of her going forward nature, you know, within this work to the work that she's done with the Return to Food Academy and working with me. So that's what these products are set up to do. And what I would love to know and see in your future is what happens as a result of you taking action today. How many lives are you going to change? You know, what platforms can you actually build? These are just taking you through what the online programs actually look like. All of this did not happen overnight, but it's happened, it's done. Was it hard work? Absolutely. Did it scare the hell out of me? Absolutely. But you know what? It's done now. And now I have those products that I can actually sell, and I can actually be making passive income because I'm teaching people when I'm sleeping, because they can actually log in and do the programs anytime. They can download them. They have them for life. And I'm now creating an income when I sleep. And I want that for you, because I know that in this world, in this work that you're doing, you need to be able to live holistically in order to sustain your message. So really important going forward. We have that. This is my Return to Food kitchen. This is where at the end of the retreat, all the videos I film are here, and my students come in and we film here. And I love it. And I've loved being of service to people and seeing them along their journey, creating their businesses, doing some amazing, cool things in the world, and really getting out there and telling their own stories. So that's the Return to Food Academy. I'm just going to flip through some of the products that I've created in the past. I'm not selling these today, but there's the holistic information products, the Cooking School Blueprint, how to create packages that give freedom, discovering your niche and leveraging it. I've created something called the Return to Food Live. It's like a day in the kitchen with me. And the retreat, again, that's the retreat on Bowen Island, which is amazing. It's like the dream holistic foodies vacation and workshop over 7 days. It's pretty awesome. And I've got a live seminar online program, and I've just shown you, this is the feeling that I'm actually able to create in people. And I totally believe that you're able to do this too. And I know because I've seen my students have that kind of success. And you'll be able to look at this in the replay if you like, but you can see the testimonials from people that are working with me that this stuff actually works, and it is absolutely life-changing, and it can really make a difference in what you're doing in the world. So I said at the beginning I was going to make an offer to you, and I really want to make this offer. So I've been racking my brains over the last few months and thinking, how can I create something that's going to get people from that inertia of not knowing what to do, from the overwhelm, to helping them really get started in developing their business and moving their business forward in their work, their practice, right? So I've created something what I call the Return to Food Coaching Blueprint. And it has 5 modules in it. So how to find your niche and reach them, the Cooking School Blueprint, and how to sell without being salesy, holistic marketing blueprint, authentic speaking blueprint. And then I've created 3 bonuses. One is how to actually create packages and products and put them together. And 2, this is a big one, is often we get all this information, but then we become overwhelmed by it. How do we get into that place where we are implementing? So productivity plan, showing you how to do that, how I do that, how I actually get over my inges and my fear of it not being good enough to get into the place where I get things done. And as you can see, I'm getting some stuff done. And also bonus 3 is how do you, once you actually find your niche, how do you actually find them, right? So building and monetizing your tribe, how do you actually find them? And then learn how to create income from serving them. So just a quick review. Module 1 is basically getting clarity on who you're meant to serve and how to reach them most efficiently. And module 2 is the Cooking School Blueprint. Now this is essentially everything that I know about cooking classes since I started my cooking school in 1993, I'm sharing with you the stuff that, man, had someone come and gave me this, I literally believe I would have made $1 million from cooking classes over the years had I known what I'm sharing with you in the Cooking School Blueprint. That alone, I can promise you, is worth the entire course. It's, to me, it's a gold, right? To actually get that information that I've spent years making all the mistakes and spending literally tens of thousands of dollars making those mistakes. And I'm going to share it with you how to avoid that. Module 3 is how to sell without being salesy. Okay, so everything changed in my business when I learned how to sell and how to do it from a place of heart and soul. And I want to share how I did this with you. Module 4 is holistic marketing. So marketing and self-promotion. I truly believe that these are awesome skills that you're going to need to move your business forward, and it's going to bring in customers much more readily and easily than advertising or, any kind of PR that comes out there. Is if you get the marketing right, the PR will come. And when you do it right, it feels absolutely amazing. It doesn't make you feel icky. And module 5, I'm going to talk about speaking. Okay, so as I mentioned, this is the gateway to the most amazing experiences of my life and the work that I've loved doing. And so getting good at reaching people in a way that they say, tell me more, I could listen to you all day. How can I work with you? That's what I want to set the stage for you learning in this module. So bonus 1, I'm going to teach you how to actually create packages and products that sell. So I believe the practitioner model is broken, and at least many holistic practitioners broke and starting for clients. And even if the 10% that are really successful with the practitioner model make it and they've got a full schedule, most of them are so stressed and afraid to take a break or a holiday because they're worried about losing business, because that means a loss of income that their lifestyle now accommodates, or they're afraid of losing clients that they then have to go to all that work to rebuild. Okay, so the way to abundance and true transformation with your clients is to create packages and products that work to help people transform from where they are, right, to where they want to go. And so I'm going to cover some content on this, on the pricing and content strategy, to help you get into that mindset of developing products and packages that you can make money in your sleep like I do. Okay, and then the bonus number 2 is productivity plan. So you've got a vision, now to execute. And essentially, I want you to learn how to put into place a plan and a way of doing things where you're actually getting stuff done and consistently. And I'm by no means, a 4-hour work week type A personality. I'm not. I go gently and slowly. I'm definitely the tortoise and not the hare. And the great thing is if you have a framework, to get what you need to get done consistently, it will help you create the freedom in your life that I believe that most of us are really seeking and hungry for. Bonus number 3 is building and monetizing your tribe. Okay, so this module covers how you'll start to build your tribe in your niche area and how to create consistent income by truly being of service to them. And I think that's the big key, and it changes everything. When you truly get into that space where I'm going to serve these people and I know my worth, you will start to get that kind of freedom. And so I'm actually offering all of this, and you saw that it was a $697 value. The Cooking School Blueprint alone, I know, is worth easily $600. That's my belief. And I honestly feel that if I price my products in the holistic field for what they're truly worth, that there's not going to be many people who can afford to buy them. So I go, to the nth degree to make these products affordable. And so everything that I'm offering there, I'm actually offering today. I've got tonight only, but you've got today, and I think 8 hours from now, for a one-time payment of $297, and you can pay via PayPal. Okay, and what I can also do here is, I'm just going to put up, the offer where you can just go directly if you want. Here we go. You can just click that link that says register now, and you can sign up for the Cooking School Blueprint. Now, the first module is actually coming out next week, and we have other people from all around North America who are participating in this. We have some food coaches from down in California where I was speaking at Bowman College. And we have some people I know already from the CSNN and IHN and different colleges here in Canada who are participating. And this is Gina Sauer, who went through the Return to Food Academy as a food coach. And she's just, I think I'm going backwards. I'm just wondering, something's happening with my slides. Oh, these are just more testimonials from students. And this is Rochelle Girardin from Beyond Nourish, who was a student of mine who basically still comes to me for advice in her business, and Chancey Dawn, who is a food coach on Vancouver Island, who is doing some amazing things within her business. Karen Porter is from Toronto. Ashley Joyce is from Philadelphia. And again, I'm just going to reiterate that this offer today, the Return to Food Coaching Blueprint, is $697. I'm offering those things. What I haven't mentioned here is that I'm going to be doing a private Facebook group too. So you will be able to, as you go through the modules, get feedback from other people who are going through the program. And you'll start to be able to get the information that will help you to get you into the game so that you can become your own hero. You can actually help other people do what it is that they need to do to take care of themselves so that they can live a much longer life with greater quality of life. And you can actually be the catalyst in their life for helping them get healthy and eat in a way that's going to help them become their own hero. So it's just kind of basically, you just keep paying it forward and forward and forward. So thank you for staying here online for as long as you have. I truly appreciate it. I have time if anyone has the endurance to get going, to keep going. I have time to answer questions. Penny has asked, is this US dollars or Canadian dollars? This is US dollars. So I did create this in the United States, and so everyone else is paid in US dollars, and it's still amazing value. So I probably should have, knowing that there was mostly Canadians on here, done the exchange rate, but I think most people are aware of that right now. And just to let you know that the Cooking School Blueprint alone is definitely worth $600. And just by doing that, in your first class that you run, you can easily make back what you've invested in this program. So just that alone is actually worth that. So yeah, great question, Penny. Thank you for asking for clarification. So let me just go back down to here in my slides. My little mouse doesn't want to go into my other screen. There we go. Okay, great. Okay, so I'm just going to reiterate. The Return to Food Coaching Blueprint is, it's $297 for a one-time payment. There is the option of a two-pay option. You just need to email me, sherry@returntofood.com, and I can set that up for you, because I do know that sometimes that can be a bit tricky. And I also do have time for any further questions around that. Well, we certainly covered off a lot of information. And just to let you know that if you've ever had these challenges, to know that they don't go away. Challenges don't go away. You don't stop all of a sudden, get to a certain level of you've either created a book, or you've created a product line, or you've got, you know, your classes full, and that things don't stop having challenges. What's going to happen in the process of you doing all of this, learning all of this, working at this, is you grow yourself to the person that will be able to take on even more challenges. And that's what we're here for. We're here to grow, we're here to evolve, and we're here to move forward with what it is that we want to create in the world. And in order for you to create what it is that you're meant to do here, that legacy that you want to live, you're going to have to go out of your comfort zone. You're going to have to put your best foot forward. You're going to have to learn new skills, and you're going to have to invest in yourself. And when you do that, when you set yourself up to do that, people can actually see, you know, the universe starts to see all the action you're taking. And there's all kinds of momentum and forces that works with you to help you create that and to help you make that happen in your life. So again, I just want to say thank you very much for joining in the webinar. Thank you for participating, for those of you who asked questions and who created, you know, an environment that made it safe for other people to share. I'm really grateful for that. And you basically give me the platform and the opportunity to do what it is that I do, and I absolutely love what I do. I'm grateful for it. I'm grateful to be of service. Whether you decide to take the program now or in the future, the bonuses are valid for today. And that's an incentive to obviously get you to move you into action, because what I do know is that people who take action on the day end up doing, and it rarely is the other way around. So if you're inspired to actually do this and to get moving in this area, I would be honored and delighted to be your coach. And I absolutely know that for this relatively, in my belief, small investment in terms of what you're getting, you're going to get some amazing value that's going to help you move to the next level, to help you do what it is you're meant to be doing in this world. And I would love to be your teacher and mentor in service to that. So I am going to end the webinar. We have our 90 minutes is now up. If I don't have any more questions, I'm going to just leave you with one word of advice, is to just do something. Whether it's this or it's that one action point that I asked you about early in it, just take action on it. The world really does need you doing what it is you're doing. And even more importantly, you need to be doing what it is you're meant to be doing. So don't let anything hold you back. And don't let anyone or any excuse or any inch, you know, hold you back from doing this work. And just start with one thing today. Take action, the one thing that you know is going to move you and propel you forward. And get into community. Find your tribe of people who can actually support and help you, you know, to do those things that you're here on earth to do. So have a wonderful rest of the day. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. And I hope to see you sometime in the future in a Facebook group or in person at a conference or online. That would be awesome. And yeah, so I think that's a great way to kind of end. And so have a fabulous day. And I'm sending you lots of love and hugs. And yeah, thanks again for being here. Take care.